And on our back, we'll begin to settle into our body. We'll do a brief breath awareness exercise before we begin our physical practice. But first, I just want to thank you for coming. And since this is a beginner level class, I will be spending a little bit more time on each pose. You're welcome to always come to child's pose. If we're holding a pose for too long or you feel like you need to take a break, you're welcome to do so. Here, lying on your back, the legs can be spread out wide, or you can bend at the knees and let the knees fall in towards each other to give yourself a little release in the lower back. One great thing about breath awareness, pranayama breath exercise, is that you don't need any previous knowledge about breath work. The best part about this practice is you begin where you are right now. It's a practice of understanding what is. Here, without making any adjustments to your breath, just begin to feel the inhale in the body. Understand and ask yourself what the inhale feels like in your mind. Where do you feel the inhale in the body, and how does the succession of the inhale settle in the body itself? And then we'll move to the top of your inhale. Without changing your breath at all, just simply observe what the top of the inhale feels like in the body. When you're in the middle of your inhale and exhale, where does the mind go? Where does it settle in the mind and the body? Where do you feel it? And then we'll bring our awareness to the exhale. With each exhale, observe what happens in the body. How does the succession of breath move through the body and the lungs without changing anything, just observing? Where does your mind go? What does the mind do? And then we'll bring our awareness to the bottom of the breath. Try not to change anything. What happens in the body at the bottom of the breath when you're in the middle of your exhale and inhale transition? Where does the mind go? Without judging, just noticing. And then just take a deep inhale, deep exhale. Breathe normal here. Feel the full breath in the body. By bringing conscious awareness to the breath, we activate an internal deep level change and bring balance to the body and mind. This helps us improve concentration, build focus, and enhance our physical practice. Becoming aware of what the breath is doing throughout your practice can give you better insight into the mind and body. Bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a bear hug, rock and roll, massage the lower back. Feel where this settles in the body, maybe the hips, maybe the back or the spine. We'll bring the arms out to a T, take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, let the knees drop over to the left for a supine twist. So from here, we're going to gently lift the shoulder blades and set them back down so they're even on the mat, and then gaze over to the right fingertips. You're welcome to bring the left hand to the knees. You can also place something underneath the knees if this twist is too intense. Let this feel really enjoyable. Breathe into the belly, feel space in the lower back. Soften down onto the ground. Notice if you're holding any gripping or tension in the body. See if you can soften in those areas. Gaze up to the ceiling, and we'll inhale the knees through center, and exhale, drop the knees over to the right. Readjust yourself so both shoulder blades are glued to the mat, and then bring your gaze over to the left fingers. You can close the eyes or keep them softly open. You're welcome to bring that right hand to the knees or place some support underneath the knees to lift them just slightly. If this twist is a little bit too intense, wherever you are, take a deep breath in, fill the belly. Exhale, soften down onto the ground. If you notice the mind is wandering, maybe pick a point in the breath, maybe the inhale, the top of the breath, the exhale, or the bottom of the breath, and just bring your awareness into that part of the breath. Notice with each inhale and exhale how the body and the mind fluctuates. Without holding on to any attachment there, just simply noticing what's going on. Gaze up to the ceiling. Inhale the knees through center, hug the knees in, give yourself a bear hug, rock and roll, massage the lower back. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Cross the right ankle over the left knee for a figure 4 or a reclined pigeon pose. Flex the right foot, and here you can bring that right hand to the right knee and push the knee away. Feel a soft, gentle opening in the right hip here. If you'd like to make this a little bit deeper, you're welcome to draw the left knee towards the chest and lift the left foot off the ground. Hands clasped behind the left hamstring or knee. Make sure that both feet are flexed so the legs are engaged and we protect the ankles. This helps with alignment within the body. And breathe space into the hip, any tight areas in the body. One more deep inhale. Exhale, left foot to the ground, uncross the feet, and we'll bring the left ankle over the right knee. You can push the left knee away with the left hand. Feel the opening in the left hip. This might feel good. If you'd like to make this a little bit deeper, you can draw the right knee in towards you as the hands clasp behind the right leg. Breathe. Both feet are flexed to keep structural alignment in the body. This helps activate the muscle so that we can get the most out of it. Soften in the shoulders, relax in the face. One big inhale. Exhale, release the feet and the hands, and we'll bring the feet a little bit wider than hip distance with the knees bent. Arms rest by your sides, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees back and forth at your own pace. Feel free to pause anywhere that feels good. And we'll come back through center, hug the knees in one more time. And then we'll roll to our favorite side in a fetal posture, knees tucked in. Let your cheek rest on your arm. And softly push up through your palms, and we will come to a seat. And we'll send the legs in front of us, straight in front of us, the legs together for a seated staff pose. As we root down into the sit bones, here we want the spine to stay really long. So if you feel any rounding through the spine, you're welcome to place some support underneath the sit bones. If you have anything close by, like a towel, blanket, or even a block, sometimes a block is just a little too high. Wherever you are, root yourself down, elongate through the spine, soften the shoulders. Flex the feet here so the legs are slightly engaged. We're just gonna sit here for a couple breaths as we draw the belly button up towards the spine. Even though we're just taking a seat, this can take a lot of practice to stay really long and soften the shoulders. Breathe. Feet are flexed, legs slightly engaged. Bring your hands to your legs. Inhale long in the spine, gaze up slightly. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Keep the spine really long until you feel the spine round. Once you feel that edge, let the spine round and the head hang freely. Your hands can come to your legs, your ankles, or your feet. The soles of the feet face forward. You can go as deep as you would like here. Enjoy this deep forward fold. Elongate through the spine on your inhale, and exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Pending cats, dogs, kids, or animals that are in your way. Breathe. Walk yourself back up to neutral spine, and we'll draw the right knee in. You can keep the sole of the foot on the ground here. You're welcome to cross that foot over the left leg. Take a deep inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, twist to the right, twist from the core, and then the shoulders and the head as we gaze over the right shoulder. Right hand kickstands out behind you. The spine stays really long. The right hand is there for support. Left hand or elbow to the right knee. to help you twist a little bit deeper. Find length on your inhale. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Wring out all the toxins in the inner organs. One more big round of breath. Inhale back through center. Straighten out the right leg, draw the left knee in, sole the foot on the ground. And you're welcome to cross it over the right leg if you'd like. Inhale, find length in the spine. Exhale, twist to the left, use your core, and then the chest, shoulders, and head. Kickstand that left hand out behind you. Gaze over the left shoulder. Right hand or right elbow to the left knee. Stay really long in the spine. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. So many benefits for the inner organs as we massage them, move them around, detox the inside. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Inhale back through center. Straighten out the legs in front of us, shake the knees out. And we'll bring the legs as wide as you can get them. Flex the feet for a wide-legged forward fold here. Root down into the sit bones, long in the spine. Bring the hands in front of you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale as you hinge at the hips. Keep the spine long. Feel the hips, the pelvis tilt forward. And once you find your length, let the spine round and the head hang. Bring the hands or forearms to the ground. As you breathe into this really deep stretch in the hips and legs, maybe through the back, the torso, the neck. Two more big rounds of breath here. Fold a little bit deeper. And we'll walk the hands back up to a neutral spine. Try to keep yourself really rooted into the sit bones as you draw the soles of the feet towards each other for bound angle pose. You can grab onto the knees, shins, ankles, or the feet. From here, we're going to try to bring our heels as close to the pelvis as we can get it without rounding through the spine. Find your edge. Inhale, find length through the spine. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Once you find that edge, let the spine round and the head hang. Bring your hands or arms to anywhere that's comfortable to you. You can push the knees away with the elbows or bring the forearms or hands to the ground in front of you. The feet splay open like a book. Breathe into this deep stretch in the inner legs and thighs, pelvis area, a really grounding pose. Two more big rounds of breath. We'll come back up to neutral spine. Inhale. And we'll roll over the shins and come to a tabletop. Here in tabletop, the wrists under the shoulders, spread the fingers wide. Shoulder width apart, knees hip distance apart. We'll begin to flow through cat and cow. So as we inhale, bend at the elbows, gaze forward as the belly drops to the ground. Exhale, push through the hands as you draw the chin to your chest. Inhale, gaze forward, elbows bend. Send the sit bones upward. Exhale, round through the spine, push through the arms as you send the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Inhale, we'll move with our own breath here. Exhale to cat pose, round through the spine. Move around in a way that feels good to you. You're welcome to explore the side of the body, the hips or the shoulders. You can move forward, backward, side to side. Lots of range of movement here. We spread the fingers really wide to protect the wrists. This helps create a greater surface area for the weight of the body to sink into so that all of the weight doesn't rest in the wrists or the joints. This can protect us from our practice if we practice quite a lot or if we haven't practiced before. Two more rounds of breath, cat and cow. Inhale, one more, cow, gaze forward. Exhale, push through the hands round through the spine. Inhale to neutral spine. From here, we'll come into a spinal balance. So we'll root as we straighten out the right leg, come onto the ball of the right foot. From here, we're gonna really practice drawing the belly button up towards the back of the spine. From here, make any adjustments that you need to. If you'd like, you can lift the right toes off the ground. Long in the back of the neck as you gaze towards the fingers. From here, you're welcome to lift the left arm so you feel energy from the right heel to the left fingers. Find your edge. Make sure that you don't let the spine drop or the belly drop. Stay really strong in the core. Breathe. If the foot is off the ground, bring the right toes back down to the ground, left hand to the ground, and we're just gonna ground the right foot, so the sole of the right foot's on the ground. Send the right hand up to the sky for a modified side plank, gaze forward or to the right fingers. This left foot can stay in line with the right heel and the left hand, or you can kickstand it out behind you for more support and stability. Both of which will give you a different stretch in the hip joint. Strong into the right foot as you feel the hips shoot up towards the sky. Maybe send the right fingers up and over so the right bicep frames the right ear, long all the way through the right side of the body. That upward movement with the belly button is still engaged to protect the lower back. Inhale, right hand to the sky, and we'll release back down through tabletop. Spread the fingers wide, and we'll kickstand that left foot out so we're on the ball of the left foot. Draw the belly button towards the spine. From here, you're welcome to lift the left foot off the ground. Make sure that the belly doesn't droop. Keep the spine really long and engaged. Maybe take the right hand up so you feel energy from the left heel out of the right fingertips. Long in the back of the spine. Keep the belly button, draw it up towards the back of the spine. One more big round of breath. Drop the right hand to the ground, left foot to the ground. We'll ground the left foot and send that left hand up to the sky for a modified side plank. Breathe. Draw the belly button in, strong in the core. Maybe send the left fingers up and over to frame the left ear. Feel this all the way through the left side of the body. Take a big breath into the left rib cage. Inhale, left hand to the sky. And we'll exhale ourselves through tabletop. Spread the knees really wide here. Big toes touch. We'll sink the hips towards the heels and walk the hands forward for child's pose. Let the torso rest in between the knees. Here we can make a conscious effort to come back to our breath. This is also a great moment to set an intention for yourself. An intention is similar to how we bring awareness into the mind. It can help us anchor the mind into one point in our practice for us to focus on, which helps allow us to leave everything else around us behind and really focus in on what we need currently in this moment. Two more rounds of breath here in child's pose. We'll push ourselves up through tabletop. Here in tabletop, the hands shoulder width apart, directly under the shoulder, wrists directly under the shoulders. Spread the fingers really wide. The pointer finger is parallel to the long edge of the mat, so pointing directly forward. And the crease of your wrist is parallel to the short edge of your mat. From here, we're gonna curl the toes under as we engage the core to lift the hips up and back into our downward facing dog. From here, if the feet are too close together, you're welcome to walk the hands out to make this a little bit more spread out. From here, push through the hands and arms as you draw the shoulders down away from the ears, and then pedal out the heels, draw the heels towards the ground. Let the neck be free, shake the head yes and no. From here, feel the upward movement of your hips up towards the ceiling. You may even want to come up onto your tippy toes. Make any adjustments that you need to. Enjoy the feeling of the body moving around. Notice any tight spots in the body. Just bring a little bit of awareness there. No need to change anything. Make any tiny adjustments that you need to currently in order to prevent any major discomforts. Two more rounds of breath here in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, we're gonna bend the knees a little bit as we gaze forward, and then with a little gusto, push through our feet as we walk our feet forward to meet in between our palms at the top of our mat. Our feet are hip distance apart, spread the toes really wide. You can bend the knees generously here too. Let the torso rest on the thighs. Let the neck and head be free. Sway from side to side. Maybe even grab onto opposite elbows, hang over in ragdoll. Release the upper back and head. Feel yourself rooted down into the heels and the balls of the feet. Here, when you root down into the foot all four corners of the feet. Feel the natural arch of the foot lift. You might notice a subtle change in energy in the legs. Release the hands to the ground. On your next inhale, lift the torso halfway up, long in the spine. Hands can come to the legs. Wherever you are, try to keep the spine really long in the back of the neck. You're welcome to bend the knees here as well to keep the spine long. Drive the shoulders down away from the ears. Draw the belly button up towards the spine. It's hard to always keep that belly button engaged, but over time, through practice, we'll begin to really work on that upward movement of energy in the body as it shoots out the top of our head. This helps with structural alignment in the body, posture. Inhale, exhale to a forward fold. Go just a little bit deeper here. Bend at the knees, push through the feet. We'll roll ourselves up to standing with 3 rounds of breath, really slowly. Enjoy this all the way through the spine, neck, and head. And then once you're standing, inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, roll it back and down. Fingers spread wide here. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, windmill the arms overhead, gaze up towards the fingers. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment here, reconnect with your intention. Feel strong in the feet. Lift the kneecaps slightly as the legs engage. Tuck the tailbone under, soften the shoulders. From here, we're gonna step the right foot back to a high crescent lunge. So we're on the ball of the right foot, right leg is straight with a micro bend in the right knee, and the left knee is bent. Hands can stay at heart center, or you can bring them up overhead. Soft in the shoulders. Breathe here as you draw the belly button in, scoop the tailbone under slightly. You might feel that deep stretch in the right quadricep as you scoop the tailbone under. You may even want to bend the right knee slightly to get that pelvis to rotate back. Strong in both feet. Send energy out of the right heel. Feel the upward lifting through the torso and the core. Soft in the shoulders. Inhale to bring the arms overhead for a breath. And we'll exhale ourselves to Warrior Two as we open the arms up to a T. Left toes face forward. The right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. The alignment of the feet, the left heel should be in line with the center of the arch of the right foot. So if you were to draw a T with your feet, that's generally what it would look like. But most importantly, the left knee should be pointing towards the third toe. So if this is making the knee fall in or out, just heel toe the foot out to the left slightly to give yourself a little bit more space. arms to a T, draw the shoulders away from the ears. You push really strong into the feet, almost like the right foot is pushing you this way and the left foot is pushing you this way, to give you really long length through the spine, the torso, all the way up the top of your head. So the torso isn't leaning forward or backward, you're right in the center. From here, flip both palms to face the ceiling so that you can kind of pinch the shoulder blades together slightly. Draw the shoulders down. Once you feel that, then just bring the hands back over so the palms face the ground. See how that changes the upper body a little bit. On your next inhale, we'll sweep the arms overhead. We'll come onto the ball of the right foot for our high crescent lunge. Once more. Hands through heart center. Gently step yourself forward to standing at the top of your mat, Tadasana, feet hip distance apart. And then we'll step the left foot back for our high crescent lunge on the left side. On the ball of the left foot, left leg is straight with the knee slightly bent. Right knee is bent. For the full expression, you can try to stack the right knee over the right ankle. Try not to go over, but you can bring it behind it if it's too hard to sink that deep into the lunge. Draw the belly button in towards the spine. As you scoop the tailbone under, you might feel this really engage the left quadricep. You might need to bend the left knee just a little bit. And then lift through the side of the body and the spine, broaden in the chest. Hands overhead as palms face each other, soft in the shoulders, or hands at heart center. Inhale, arms overhead for a breath. Exhale as we open up to the left for a warrior two, gaze over the right fingers. For alignment's sake, the heel of the right foot should be in the center of the arch of the left foot, which is parallel to the short edge of the mat. If you notice the knee wants to fall inward, then just heel toe the right foot out a little bit. Push through both feet, arms to a T, lift through the torso. We'll flip both palms up to face the ceiling. Draw the shoulders down, pinch the shoulder blades together just slightly. And then without changing the shoulders at all, flip the palms back down to face the ground. Strong in the arms. Two more rounds of breath. We'll come onto the ball of the left foot as we inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, high crescent lunge. Hands through heart center, we'll gently step forward to standing Tadasana. Inhale, windmill arms overhead, gaze up to the fingers. Exhale, hands at heart center. We'll step the right foot back for warrior one. For here, that right foot will ground, so that right heel is on the ground, and the right foot is about a 45-degree angle. The feet alignment here, the left heel should align with the right heel, so the feet are fairly close together. You might feel this a little bit deeper in the hips there. Bring your hands to your hips. See if you can drive that right hip forward just a little bit more. If you need to bring the feet in a little bit closer together, I welcome you to do that. Back, right leg is straight, left leg is bent. Left knee stacked over the left ankle. Arms overhead or to your heart center. Lift through the core and the side of the body. 2 more rounds of breath. Strong in both feet, soft in the shoulders. From here, we're gonna straighten the left leg out. So our feet are already prepared for pyramid pose. So all we have to do is take a big inhale and exhale. Keep the spine long, hands at heart center here as you begin to hinge over the left leg. Keep a micro bend in the left knee. Try not to lock the knee. Just find your edge here. As long as the spine is straight, lengthen in the back of the neck, you can go as deep as you would like. Strong in both feet. Drive the left hip back and the right hip forward. Take a deep inhale. Exhale as you drop the hands to the leg or to the ground and just let the spine round and the head hang freely. If you have any support or a block close by, you can bring your hands to a block too. Sometimes the block or support can give you some leverage to help you find that really nice alignment in the hips. It's okay if that right heel comes off the ground. Breathe here, 2 more rounds of breath. Wherever you are, make sure that you lift to find a flat back first. And then we'll inhale ourselves back up to standing. You can walk the hands up the legs. And we'll just gently step ourselves forward to Tadasana at the top of our mat, hands at heart center. And we'll step the left foot back for warrior one on the opposite side. The left foot grounds. Left foot about a 45-degree angle. The right heel is lined up with the left heel. So the feet are fairly in line with each other, almost touching the same line. If this is too intense, you can heel toe that right foot out to the right slightly to give you a little bit more space in the hips. Bring your hands to your hips for a moment and just try to drive that left hip forward and the right hip back as you bend into the right knee. See how that really just engages the left quad, the hip flexor, all the way up, even through the abdominals. Hands can be at heart center or overhead. Palms face each other or palms can touch. Soft in the shoulders. Breathe. Shaking is normal. Feeling discomfort is normal. If we come back to the breath, two more rounds of breath. We're gonna straighten the right leg for pyramid. The feet are already aligned where they should be. Take a deep inhale, find space in the spine. Exhale, hinge over the right leg. Keep both legs straight with a micro bend in the knees. Find your spot, your edge with a flat back. Stay here for a few breaths as you push strong through both feet. Drive that right hip back and the left hip forward just slightly. Core is engaged. Inhale. Exhale as you bring the hands to the legs, to a block or support, or all the way to the ground. As you round through the spine, let the head hang freely. Let this feel really good. Two more rounds of breath. Inhale yourself to a flat back. You can walk your hands up your legs. With a big inhale, lift yourself back up to standing, hands at heart center. And we'll step ourselves forward. Tadasana at the top of our mat, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, windmill, arms overhead, gaze upward. Exhale, hands at heart center. Inhale, windmill the arms overhead, gaze up. And with a flat back, we'll hinge at the hips as we fold over for a swan dive, arms wide to our forward fold. Grab on to any support, block. You can grab onto the legs or feet. Let this feel really good in the body. Sway from side to side. Release the neck and head. Inhale, lift yourself halfway, long in the spine. Push the shoulders down away from the ears. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, forward fold. With a flat back, on your next inhale, we'll reverse swan dive up to standing, arms wide, palms face each other overhead, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Stay where you are at the top of your mat. I'll move so you can see me. We'll work through tree pose. Feet hip distance apart. We'll begin to shift our weight into the left foot. You can bring that right foot to the inside of the left ankle with the toes on the ground here for balance. Or draw the foot up, the ankle, the shin, or bring that right hand down to draw it up to the inner thigh. Avoid the knee. Wherever you are, push that right foot into the left leg. Feel yourself lift through the torso, soft in the shoulders. Root down into the heel and the ball of the left foot, strong in the left leg. Feel the right hip open. Hands can stay at heart center, or you can bring them up overhead wide, fingers spread wide. Find that unmoving point in front of you, your drishti. Soft in the shoulders. One more inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center, legs stay where they are. And then softly release the right foot to the ground, shake it out. Nice job. We'll do tree pose on the opposite side. We'll begin to shift our weight into the right foot. The left foot comes to the inside of the ankle, shin, or thigh. A micro bend in the right knee. You can take that left hand to draw the foot up to the inner thigh. Wherever you are, push the left foot into the right leg, strong in both legs. As you feel the hip just slightly open, lift up through the torso, draw the abdominal muscles in, broaden in the chest. Hands can stay at heart center. You can bring the hands up overhead. For more balance, the arms stay wide. And for an added challenge, you bring the hands closer together. Breathe, find an unmoving point in front of you. Soft in the shoulders, soft in the face. One more inhale. Exhale as we bring the hands back to heart center, legs stay where they are. And with control, softly release the left foot to the ground. Nice job. At the top of our mat, feet hip distance apart. Inhale to windmill the arms overhead, gaze upward. Exhale with a flat back, swan dive, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Take a big breath, enjoy this fold, let the head release. Inhale, lift yourself halfway long in the spine. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, forward fold. We'll plant the palms and step the feet back, feet hip distance apart as we come into our downward facing dog. Spread the fingers wide. Push through the arms, let the head hang in between the biceps, shake the head yes and no. Pedal out the heels. And then we'll drop the knees to the ground and lower down to our belly. Keep the spine protected. However you need to get to your belly, let your cheek rest on the ground and your arms by your sides. From here, we'll do a locust pose. So on your next inhale, we'll softly lift the arms and legs off the ground, peel the chest and head off the ground. Palms face each other, draw the fingertips towards the heels as you pinch the shoulder blades together. Feet hip distance apart. Root down into the pelvic bone, breathe into the belly. Strong in the legs. Inhale, lift up even higher. Exhale, release down, opposite cheek on the mat. We'll do locust one more time. On your next inhale, lift your legs, arms, chest, and head off the ground. Gaze just an inch or two in front of your nose. Palms face each other, fingertips reach towards the heels, broaden in the chest, root down into the pelvic bone. One more inhale, lift even higher. Exhale, release, opposite cheek on the mat. Hands under your shoulders, push up through your palms, engage the core to protect the spine. We'll come into child's pose. Keep the knees together here. Let the torso rest on the knees and the arms come to your sides, forehead to the ground. Two more deep breaths here. Breathe space into the spine and lower back. And then push through the hands, drop the hips to the ground, swing the legs in front of you. We'll softly lower down to our back. Draw the knees into the chest, give yourself a bear hug, draw circles with the knees, release the lower back. And then bring the soles of the feet to the ground, knees are bent. Feet and knees hip distance apart. Let the hands and arms rest by your hips, palms on the ground. On your inhale, you'll push through the feet as you lift the hips off the ground for bridge pose. Keep the knees hip distance apart. Make sure that they're not splaying in or out. Strong in the legs, send the hips up towards the sky as you create space in the chest. Push firmly through the forearms and hands, maybe create a little bit more space as you draw the chin in towards the chest. One more big round of breath. One vertebrae at a time. Exhale slowly, release down to the ground. And we'll draw the knees in towards the chest. Bring your hands to your knees. Draw tiny circles with the knees in one direction. And then we'll change directions. Bring your hands to the outsides of your feet and then draw the knees towards your armpits for happy baby. The soles of the feet face towards the ceiling. The feet are flexed. Arms are engaged, soft in the shoulders. Keep the spine flat on the ground. You're welcome to rock and roll from side to side. Deep stretch in the hips. Three more rounds of breath. Try to find a little bit of stillness. Come back to the breath, not letting go just yet. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together to touch. Rest the feet on the ground as the knees splay open in reclined bound angle. Softly rest your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your heart. We'll take 3 deep breaths here. First, big inhale, fill the lungs all the way up to the top. And we'll pause at the top of the breath. Exhale out of your mouth, sigh it out. Draw the belly in as you wring out all the air. Inhale, fill the belly, the lungs with fresh new air, all the way up to the top. And then pause at the top. Exhale, sigh it out. Let the breath empty the lungs, draw the belly in, wring out all the stale air. Inhale one more time, all the way up to the top. Pause. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, sigh it out. Let the breath go completely. Straighten the legs and the arms for our final relaxation pose. Palms face the ceiling, arms by your sides, feet splay open naturally. Make any tiny adjustments to get comfortable. Close the eyes. Draw the chin into the chest just very slightly to create space in the back of the neck. Here you can pick a point in the breath to focus on. Breathing naturally. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Softly come back to the present moment into the body. Wiggle through the wrists and ankles. Take a deep inhale. Stretch yourself long from your fingers to your toes. And then roll over to your favorite side in a fetal position. Tuck the knees in, your cheek rests on your arm. Softly push yourself up through your palms to a seat. And we're down into the sit bones. Feel length in the spine. Hands come to your knees or to your lap. You're welcome to bring your hands to your heart center to seal your practice today. Let your thumbs rest on your sternum and your lips rest in between the pointer finger and middle finger. Give yourself the gift of gratitude for showing up for yourself today. Allowing yourself space to grow, to breathe, and to observe the self in the present moment. Thank you so much for coming. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.